Hello. Hello, beauties. Hello, beautiful people. From another beautiful person, myself. We all are beautiful. Welcome. Hi, Tiffany, Britt, Andrea. Thank you. Hola, Mark. Hi, Wendy. Hello, Jeff. Hi, Ginger. Nancy, J.E., welcome. Hello. My lips are very cracked and dry, so I may be doing this, putting this oil on occasionally. Hi, Heather. Welcome. Karen, your first live. I'm so glad it's here with me and our wonderful community. Thank you for saying hello and welcome. Wow, so happy to have you, as well as everyone who's joining for the first time or many, many times, as so many of you do, and I'm so grateful. Karen, if you care to share, I'm curious, are you joining because I popped up on the screen, or did you see the topic of the live event and that interested you? Heather, your first live as well. Wow. So yeah, I'm just curious, is it the topic, or is it me, or is it just, pressing a button and seeing something on your phone that led you here? So if you are new to me, you can follow me here. If you are first timers, you can press follow here somewhere on the screen or on my profile. If you care to give a donation, it's welcomed. You can find out more about me in my profile here on Insight Timer. There's a link, and follow me on Facebook, Instagram. This will be available as a replay in my YouTube channel, so please subscribe there as well. So yeah, that's a bit about me in a nutshell. I'm a spiritual life coach and Reiki Master Teacher. So Karen, great, awesome, and Heather. Yeah, so what we're doing here in this live stream, hi Massey, welcome back. Heather, also Reiki. What level? If anyone here's a Reiki practitioner, I'd love to hear what level you are. There's 3 levels if you don't know, and you can do different things with the different levels. So I'm a Reiki Master Teacher. Great, level 2 for 20 years, awesome. Oh, so you said lovely, but lively came out. Interesting. Hi, Olivia. Caroline, welcome. Hello, lovely. Hello, livelies and lovelies. And you use Reiki in your speech therapy. Amazing. Are you a Gemini by any chance, like me? Or do you have Gemini in your astrology chart, if you happen to know? Speech would definitely, I believe, be ruled by Gemini. I'm a Gemini sun. Hi, Carolyn, welcome. Rochelle, hi, nice to see you. So today our topic is, we're going to be continuing our series on the powerful book, There's Nothing Wrong With You. I can give you a free PDF copy. Please send me a private message. That's the only way we'll be able to connect, and I can get that to you. Send me a private message with your email, and I can send it that way. And I can also send... So what I'm going to be doing here in a few minutes when we dive in is playing the audio recording of the author speaking the book. So it's an audiobook of her, Cheri Huber, the author. And so we play snippets, and then we stop and discuss just however it flows. As I said, all the replays are available. Don't worry if you don't even know what I'm talking about, or if you're joining for the first time, you haven't missed anything. Perfect time, however you're here. But also, if you want the link to the audio recording, you can also ask me for that as well in a private message. Lorraine, you listened to the whole book today. Woo! It's not a long book. I mean, the audio is only 3 hours max. And the actual book and the PDF, it's many pages, but it's like big writing and it's got illustrations. So it's not like a dense, heavy book. I mean, it is dense with material and information, but it's not something you open up and it's like the Bible with a million columns and small writing. No, it's like big print and pictures. So, yeah, I would love to hear your experience of that, Lorraine, and you're here now, so I imagine that you've gotten something from that experience. For me, it's a coach gave me that book maybe 2 years ago now, and I resonate with the title. Who else resonates with the title of it? There's nothing wrong with you. I remember I had a therapist a few years ago, and she took me through a process, or she actually, I think she just sent me a list of like core limiting beliefs that come from childhood. Well, that's where the core ones come from. And the first one in the list was something about I'm bad and I'm always doing something wrong. Something like that. And the minute I read that, I burst into tears. I mean, I've known my limiting beliefs, like I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, that like that. But I had never heard it's the same, but it's a bit of a different tweak that I'm always feel like I'm doing something wrong, and that I'm doing something bad and I'm doing something wrong. And it was a sea in which I had swam my whole life. I had never seen that particular specific belief, and it hit me so deeply. It's like there's always this judge, the voice that's, judging everything I'm doing is wrong, bad and wrong. So then the gift in that was first to see that, resonate with it, have the awareness, and then creating, she had these cards, I think they're called agency cards, like where she got this material, instead of codependency, she called it agency. So it's same but different. And so the card said, I'm not bad and I haven't done anything wrong. And I still have that on my phone as a screenshot, like in my favorites. And now that's wired in. So when I see that, I'm making myself wrong, I'm making myself bad consciously, then I can be like, I'm not bad and I haven't done anything wrong. And just reprogramming and rewiring that. So, and yet it's there. All we can do, all any of us can do, is work with what's here right now in this moment. This is the only reality that exists, is right now. If I have a thought right now in the moment, I'm not good enough, I'm doing something wrong, and I notice it, great. That's all I can work with. Now, of course, we can get into multi-dimensional forms of healing and all of that, and yes, that's there as well. And also I can access in any second, in any moment, noticing, having the awareness of the belief and then correcting it. And over time, it helps, it works. It's not necessarily a quick fix or overnight. I'm sure there's likely modalities, and even for me to see like I said, that experience when I remember I looked on the page and I saw this list, and that first one of like, I'm bad and wrong, made me burst into tears. That was an experience. So we get to meet ourselves where we are. So Caroline had hypercritical parents, grandparents. So our inner voice is the voice that we first primarily heard growing up, which for most people is their mother, whoever the primary caretaker was. So our internal voice is our mother's voice, and that can be a comforting or not so comforting thought. For me, it's not the most comforting thought, but it's just an awareness, and an awareness that it's not blaming that person and being a victim to it. It's just a recognition, okay, that's where that comes from. It didn't start there. It came, on and on and on through the ancestral lineage, wherever that was. What's important is right now and what you choose to do with it. And we can only do our best in every moment. It is insidious, Lorraine, and also there is a solution. So it's about both aspects of that. Jeff, so yeah, if you did something bad, then you weren't lovable. So Marissa Peer, who all is familiar with Marissa Peer, rapid transformational therapy, I've also had training in that. She says there's only 4 core limiting beliefs. I'm unlovable, I'm not enough, I don't belong, and I don't fit in. So she says everything can be traced to those 4. So in this book that we're studying, there's nothing wrong with you. The belief would be there's something wrong, which could be it could be any of the 4. And some people, resonate more with one or others or all of the above. But the good news is that we have tools and solutions. Think about 100 years ago. How many people would even be able to have this conversation? Even 50 years ago. So it's good to recognize, and if we think again, if we zoom out into multidimensional spiritual concepts and tools, if you believe in that line of thinking, we're infinite beings, we come here having human experiences and incarnations, and for the evolution of our soul and our life's journey, we came here for this. We came here because we're cycle breakers. So yes, it's not easy, and yes, it's time. Yes, we're ready. Yes, humanity's ready. We're all here. The fact that we have Insight Timer app, and how many millions, tens of millions of people have downloaded the app at all. So we get to look at the progress, and it's like when we become aware of something, at first it's like, it can be a lot to take in because there wasn't an awareness. Oh wow, now I see it. And that can take a digestive process, if you will. And then it's like, okay, given this situation, given this awareness, what do I choose to do about it? And that's where you have choice and personal responsibility. And so there's certain people that are victims who stay in the blaming, shaming, pointing fingers, making others wrong, making themselves wrong, going into shame spirals, or just staying in, deflecting attention and onto others and why things happened. And I'm not saying there's not a place for that, but there needs to be a place in everyone's life if you're on this journey where it's like, okay, yes, and now what? I'm here right now. I have personal responsibility. I have choice now. And then it's like a working with it. I'm not always 100% in personal responsibility and accountability and being at choice. I'm human. But it's even having that awareness, right? And then, the way I see it is, it's the wounded child. She gets overwhelmed, she gets hurt, she goes into self-pity, she wants her mommy, and mommy's never going to come. My mother, I mean, I don't want to make a declaration, but if things continue as they are, she will never change and never show up in the way that I need her to be, or that little Natalie needed her to be. I get to be that for myself now. And when I forget, it's okay. I can let myself off the hook. I can give myself grace and compassion. I'm doing my best. I mean, this is the journey. So, yeah, and the book, basically, it's a Buddhist framed, principled book, but it's not like, it's intrinsically in the material, but it's not outright. But, she talks about meditation. Basically, it's about acceptance and compassion, and then courage. The courage it takes to not give power to that paradigm. And it's not easy. It's simple and it's not easy. So I want to applaud everybody who's here on this journey doing this work. Yeah, hi Noni. Wow, 32 people in the house growing up. A lot of beings. Yeah, so one of the coaches I've had has said, like, no one's coming to save you. And we are the ones we've been waiting for, and we get to save ourselves. Because that wounded child is still sitting there back in childhood, waiting for the unconditional love to come, the acceptance. And so that's the wound that's still open and festering when that gets activated and comes up. And it's okay and it's natural. And then the gift is, okay, we as sovereign, powerful beings who are on this path and know this stuff can then be like, okay, what do I need to give myself right now? What do I need to give little Natalie now? What does she need? She needs grace. She needs unconditional love and support, regardless of how that part feels. And then also self-discipline. And, we don't let toddlers just do whatever they want. They can't have the whole candy bowl. They can't, well, if they're being disciplined, they can't run around the restaurant. They can't, sit in front of the TV for 8 hours. Like, it's not good for them, right? So the parent has that loving discipline, that structure to, self-discipline and discipline is love. And self-discipline equals self-love. So when that part gets activated, we get to recognize that, have compassion, be with it, and then if there's some sort of redirection that's necessary or indicated, then we lovingly give that to that part. It can be really helpful to zoom out and look at these parts of ourselves, and this comes from internal family systems, IFS. I'm sure many of you know that. It's a sort of therapy. So you look at, you kind of give a character to these parts of ourselves. It can be really helpful, because if I'm just in my experience and, I get like pissed off or something, for me to be able to see, okay, that's the wounded child. That's little Natalie. She feels alone. She feels rejected. I can then work with myself in that way. Instead, it's not like 100% just a global experience. Like, I'm the witness of that. There's a rebellious teenager, there's the responsible adult, there's the sovereign self, there's the, instead of the wounded child, the wonder child. So there's so much here with all of this. Wow, Lorraine, that's awesome. So maybe that's confirmation for you that you're on the right path in what you're doing. So love that. So that all wanted to come through. We're going to listen now. And as we listen, I'm going to channel Reiki into the session for those who are open to receive. Just have that intention. So as we're listening, Reiki will be channeled and also into the replay, so if you're seeing it then. And let me know if the volume is too high or too low. I'm just going to play this from my phone. I'll rewind it like a minute or so, and then we'll go from there. And as y'all who have been here know, we just flow with it. Sometimes, we listen to a whole segment and not stop. Sometimes I stop after a short time. Sometimes I've rewound it and played it again because it's so powerful. So we just are going to go with the flow with all that. So I invite you, come into full presence. Don't have distracted attention with this. Stop your scrolling if you are. And it's an invitation for you, to have some self-discipline and self-love there, of giving yourself the love to have full attention and presence to take in this very powerful information that can change your life. So here we go.
Yesterday I was thinking that if I'm going to learn to love myself, I need to learn to love myself just the way I am. It occurred to me that even being overweight, I need to be thankful for this opportunity to love myself. Comforts me to think I might be this way for a reason, and that reason might be to learn to love myself. Guide, yes, even if you lost weight and had a, in quotes, perfect body, but had not learned to love yourself, where would you be? Student, I'd still be trying to improve myself, to fix things that I think are wrong. Guide, and all you would have done is to become acceptable enough that you can love yourself conditionally, which is where we all are. As long as you do it right, look a certain way, act the way you should, accomplish certain things, you'll be lovable. But can you be lovable not meeting the standards? Can you love this person who does not meet the standards that you were taught must be met before you can be lovable? Can you stop trying to change into who you should be and who you wish you were long enough to find out who you really are? You will never improve yourself enough to meet the standards. Self-hate will see to that. But the moment you love yourself unconditionally, you are completely changed. Not wanting to be how you are is one of the most significant aspects of self-hate. We've been taught to believe that it's not okay to feel what we feel or think what we think or have the experiences we have. As children, people didn't like us when we did that, and they tried to change us. We've internalized that, and we've taken on that system ourselves. So now we're trying to change everything we don't approve of. In acceptance, we don't want to change those things about ourselves. It's only in non-acceptance that we hope acceptance will mean they change. We can have the full range of experience that is our potential, and we can enjoy it all if we move through and beyond that conditioning to change. Then everything is available to us. For example, if you're miserable, there's nothing really wrong with that. But if you're hating being miserable, then it's hell. If you're miserable and not hating it, you'll pretty quickly move through it. Experiences do move along quickly when we're present and not resisting. It's when we stop being present and get stuck in something that we can drag it out forever. We're never going to get something, a philosophy, a formula, a fixed point of view that will make us forever different. There's no secret that will fix you. Remember, there's there's nothing wrong with you. This is a lifelong process. If you decide to learn to care for yourself, to live your life in compassion, you'll be required to practice that until you die. An internal relationship must be worked on and maintained, just like an external relationship. And that's good news. When you fall in love with someone, you don't say, "Oh no, how long am I going to have to love this person?" When we're in love, we love to love that person, and we hope it'll last forever. When you don't...
Okay, I want to stop there because I don't want to miss any pieces or parts of that, because there was so much in that few minutes snippet. So if anyone cares to share, ask questions, so many gems. So share your gems if you can, because when you listen actively and then you share it, it solidifies it more. For me as a life coach, that's part of my job, and I'm getting better and better at it every day. So yeah, being able to pause, listen, reflect back, and then have what insights, what clarity, what takeaways you have from that will then help you to solidify it within and take it forward with you. Yeah. Hi, Nikki. Nice to see you. Wow. Lorraine. The tears are amazing because it's confirmation that you're hearing the truth, that there's nothing wrong with you. It's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Ginger, the conditional love. So that also hit for me. And the way I see that for myself is, I didn't like myself. I liked myself as a kid, and then I became an alcoholic and drug addict as a teenager and was a shit show, and that's okay. But I definitely did not like or love myself then. And as I've been on this journey and now clean and sober 25 years, and just the whole journey, I'm opening to this, I'm expanding into this. And so then what I see is like the next step, like, okay, liking myself, loving myself conditionally. When I perform, when I get up and do my meditation, when I feel like I performed well as a coach in a session, whatever that means, whatever benchmark that is, it's conditional love. If I sit at home and binge on whatever and watch Netflix, it's very difficult to love myself in that moment, right? But that's not love, because conditional love is not love. The other part that I loved that it said was, this is a lifetime process. You fall in love with somebody, you get into a relationship, it's ongoing work. This journey will never end. Yeah. So it's a system where we're set up to fail. And I have a client I've worked with a few years now, and this is kind of where we're working, is like they've had this since I've known them. It's like they're a project to be fixed. And so there's always got to be something wrong, so that there always can be something to work on and something to fix and somewhere to go. So over the course of our work now, it's just getting more and more deep and amazing and profound, and they've made a lot of progress, and more now. It's like there's nothing to do. If there's any propensity to want to fix or change or work on, that's in the system of the self-hate. It doesn't mean we don't, do what we need to do to take care of ourselves. And remember, I brought in the self-discipline and all of that. it's more the come from. Where are you coming from when you do whatever you're doing? Am I coming from a place that there's something wrong with me and I'm trying to fix it? Or am I coming from, I'm okay exactly as I am. I'm loving myself, and as an act of self-love, I am going to do this. Karen, yeah, so no worries. Thank you for sharing your experience. What I would suggest, like I said, like even that few moment snippet, I mean, I could talk the rest of the live on it, right? It's very deep. So go at your own pace, take it in. Awesome, Noni. Wow. Yeah, so that, you loving others unconditionally, now you get to turn it in onto yourself. Like, that reminds me of something I work with in coaching with others. And also, of course, something I get to work with is like extending to myself the same grace, the same love, the same space that I give to others. That's an act of love. So what else in that? I'm just trying to think. Oh, because it talked about, so if you're new to this, sometimes it'll say guide, and then they'll be talking, and then student, and so the guide is the author, and it's kind of like a Q&A discussion, so sometimes you'll hear that. So that's what some of that was. So it was talking about somebody saying, oh, I want to lose weight, but if you don't love yourself when you lose the weight, it's not going to work, right? So we can do all these things, but it's not getting at the deeper level. Yeah, awesome, Ginger. So I want to check something for a second. Okay, good. Yeah, and Nikki, that's exactly what the book said. This journey doesn't end. It's not one and done. It's a process. And we're on a path that's continually evolving and unfolding. And you know what the thing is, when we learn to love ourselves, we're loving God, whatever we believe ourselves, whatever we believe that to be, because we are God with skin on. And when we judge ourselves, we're judging God, because God wanted to come in as this being. God wanted to come into this form as Natalie, with all my flaws and foibles, and experience myself as this, to then come into, remembering and loving that. And that's the journey. If we think about kids and babies and children are innocent. They are present. And if you want to know what we're moving towards on this journey, just be around children and babies. Look into their eyes. Look at that innocence. They are not conditioned yet. In this book earlier, we've already gone through it, talks about the conditioning process, which then creates the ego. So we are all that innocent. It's still there. The innocence is still there. It's just about remembering, having grace, giving grace to ourselves, giving grace to others. Yeah, I'm back. So if you have joined in and you haven't already, give me a follow here on Insight Timer. If you care to give a donation, much appreciated. You can check out my meditations. I'm going live in 24 hours, actually a little bit earlier, so it'll be earlier in the evening for those in the West Coast, or not the West Coast, the Western Hemisphere. I'll be going live a couple hours earlier for the Saturday Night Live, which is really fun. So if you are new, the people who have join for that. I mean, it's always powerful, and also it's always fun too, and tomorrow it's fun also. So join for that. Thank you, Karen, for the donation. And if you feel called to reach out one-on-one, send me a message, follow that heart's call, see what's there, follow your curiosity, your heart, and we can see how we might be able to work together. I do work in different capacities. So you can find out everything and all about that if you choose to. So, hi Mishi, Gary, Jeff, seen some others join. Great. So we will continue listening, and just again, trust this is a surface skim, right, on really deep information. So trust that you'll get what you need, and that, I can share with you the resources to review it if you feel led to do that, or if you want to see the replays. So coming back into presence and into this space, I will continue channeling the Reiki as we listen. And my intention is that it will, be channeled to help heal this stuff that this book is about. Now Reiki goes wherever it needs to based on you and your higher self that draws in the Reiki wherever it needs to go. And also we can have intentions. So that's my intention, and trust that it will go and do whatever is best for you right now. So continue to listen.
Hate yourself. You won't be chronically late. Be chronically early. Procrastinate.
I want to rewind that for a second.
When we're in love, we love to love that person, and we hope it'll last forever. When you don't hate yourself, you won't be chronically late. Be chronically early. Procrastinate. Work compulsively. Abuse substances. Deprive yourself. Depress your feelings. Try to be perfect. Worry too much. Worry about worrying too much. Depend on others' approval. Believe the judge. Reject the judge. Punish yourself. Overindulge yourself. Pass up opportunities. Be afraid of yourself. Try to improve yourself. Try to improve others. Add your own to that list. We are responsible for being the person we've always wanted to find. We must become our own best friend. We must learn to give to ourselves and receive from ourselves unconditional love and acceptance. It's not selfish. It's the first giant step toward selflessness. We call people selfish when they will not give, but they cannot give what they do not have. It's like asking a starving child to share her food and then making her feel guilty for not wanting to. When we have enough, we're eager to share. By the way, what we have and what we are able to receive are two very different things. Those who feel completely loved are not selfish. They're loving. Nothing to do. What we're seeing here is how the layers of self-hate keep us from experiencing our intrinsic, inherent enlightenment. It's simply a matter of realizing what already is. It's not necessary for us to do anything. What we're seeking is available to us when we stop doing everything else. We don't have to change. We don't have to fix ourselves. We don't have to improve. We don't have to do it right. It That's why self-hate's beatings are so important to us. They're probably the single most effective method of avoiding awakening. That's why we have so much resistance to acceptance, because in acceptance, there's nothing to do. We don't need to do anything. To sit still in compassionate acceptance is all that's required. There's a small child inside each of us who is taught to believe that bad things happen or will happen because she or he is bad. As adults, when we become aware of this child, we're saddened, and we feel the child's sadness. We're conditioned to try to stop the sadness, to move away from the experience. The child doesn't need for us to do that. He or she needs to know, deep down inside, that it is
Thank you.
absolutely all right to be having that experience. The child needs complete acceptance for however she or he is in each moment. And we, as adults, do too. That's what we didn't get when we were little. Acceptance for however we are in whatever moment. The only response is compassion. Trying to stop, fix, or change is part of the self-hating process. Just stay with the experience and really get it that this is sad. It's not wrong, it's just hard. It's hard to be a being. How can we not feel compassion? Of course, self-hate will jump right in there and say, enough of this sadness, let's do something about it. That duality will flip us right back into the bottom of the pot. I imagine a big stew pot of self-hate. You just about crawl up to the top of the pot when you run into something that flips you right back in. Usually this something is trying to change what you're experiencing, criticizing yourself, judging somebody else, thinking you need to change something, fix something, do something, and you're right back in the bottom of the pot of self-hate again.
Okay. Many, many gems and nuggets. There was something I don't want to lose. I don't know if I've lost it already, that I wanted to bring forward. So it was talking about it's sad and it's hard to be a being. And when we wake up to this, as I was saying earlier, it's like, wow, this awareness, it can like bog you down of like what's there that you didn't see before, and noticing, okay, accepting it's there, it's sad, and then not wanting to change. That's where the self-hate goes. It wants to fix, it wants to change. Love is unconditional. If it's conditional love, it's not love. It's got to be okay. One of my favorite kind of mantras and ways to work with myself that I give to others. I had a client who had a nervous breakdown last year, and and I've been working with them for a few years, and during that time, the thing that I gave them to hold on to, because they felt like They couldn't hold on to anything. And I've shared this a lot here in the lives before of, can I be okay that I'm not okay right now in this moment? Can I be okay that I'm not okay? And that comes from Eckhart Tolle. That is the self-love piece, that what I just heard the book saying. I'm not okay. Can I be okay with that? That is what Tara Brach calls radical self-acceptance, which is a wonderful book, by the way, that goes in line with all of this. She says there's two wings of radical self-acceptance. One is mindfulness, and then one is compassion. So when we have the mindfulness to like be awake in our experience, even within the present moment, we can then come into acceptance with what is, and then bring compassion to ourselves. Karen, thank you for that nugget. Self-beatings are the single most effective method of avoiding awakening. Yes. Shell, hi. Totally. Like babies, children to a certain age, pets. Looking at their example of loving. The other thing I thought of was, whenever it was talking about it's hard, like acknowledging this is hard and that it's sad. But it doesn't mean not making it us wrong or bad. If anyone that's a parent here, or even if you've been a pet parent, if you think about a baby learning to walk, think about, the parents are there, the baby's standing up against the couch, wobbly legs, one hand off, one hand on. The parent is sitting there, come here, you can do it. And they take a step and they fall on their little butt. Is the parent going like, you failure, you failed in walking and you didn't take that step? No, the parent is like, good job, you took that first baby step. They celebrate them. So that's the attitude we get to have with ourselves and others, and ourselves first. Hi, Mary. Ooh, that's a beautiful and powerful image. Yeah, the self-hate pot. I think in the book there might even be a picture, an illustration of a pot. So again, if you want the free PDF, send me a private message. Yeah, and the moon card, the moon is as far as in the tarot deck, is a very deep and mysterious, watery card of illusions. And it's like what's underneath the surface. And really, we're just trapped in this illusion. It's not reality, it's not real. All of these perceptions, only love is real. I think the Course in Miracles says that. It's the only thing that exists. It's what the fabric of existence is made from. So it's just about unbecoming and remembering. And we also do conversations with God. We're doing that as a live stream series. So stay tuned. So that will be the next, because I'm doing both of these, so I'm kind of alternating and just depending on my live schedule. So whenever I do schedule the next live book series reading, it'll be Conversations with God, which is mind-blowingly, amazingly powerful, in different ways than this. And also the same themes are also there, because when you're dealing with what I see as universal truths, everyone's saying the same thing in a different way. So different voices resonate with different people, different messages said in different ways. So definitely join in that if you feel called. That book just has totally changed the way I see reality. And it's not for everybody, and that's okay. But it's been so powerful for me, that's why I share it. Just like this book here. Ginger, awesome. Yeah, so in coaching, and those of you that are clients have heard me say this likely, of like measuring ourselves against our past versions of ourselves, not against the future version that we're never going to reach. And even when we measure our progress against the past version of ourselves, it's not to make that version wrong, but to be grateful. We're standing on the shoulders of the past versions of ourselves, even from 1 minute ago. And it's all dictated by our energy and our state of being in those moments, and the actions that we take. So, and even in a more global sense, we're standing on the shoulders of our ancestors. It's all worked together to get us here. As I said earlier, we're here. We are the awakening of humanity happening right here and now. So, yeah, big stuff, amazing. So, I feel like I want to re-listen to a couple minutes, because I feel like there was something I wanted to say that I missed, that it went by. So we're going to re-listen to a few minutes and then we'll close. So I'm just going to go back. Oh yeah, remember the part it said about you're practicing self, or if you don't love yourself, or if you hate yourself, you'll be chronically late, chronically early, worry about worrying, be a perfectionist. Who all could relate to that list? And not making yourself wrong but for it. That's the journey. That's the invitation. To have the courage to, because I see that myself. Oh, this list that she just read. Oh God, I have all those things. I must be hating myself. Oh my God, there's something wrong with me. Coming out of that paradigm. It's a whole paradigm shift. So, I will continue. Press play.
Pick the judge. Punish yourself. Overindulge yourself. Pass up opportunities. Be afraid of yourself. Try to improve yourself. Try to improve others. Add your own to that list. We are responsible for being the person we've always wanted to find. We must become our own best friend. We must learn to give to ourselves and receive from ourselves unconditional love and acceptance. It's not selfish. It's the first giant step toward selflessness. We call people selfish when they will not give, but they cannot give what they do not have. It's like asking a starving child to share her food and then making her feel guilty for not wanting to. When we have enough, we're eager to share. By the way, what we have and what we are able to receive are two very different things. Those who feel completely loved are not selfish. They're What we're seeing here is how the layers of self-hate keep us from experiencing our intrinsic, inherent enlightenment. It's simply a matter of realizing what already is. It's not necessary for us to do anything. What we're seeking is available to us when we stop doing everything else. We don't have to change. We don't have to fix ourselves. We don't have to improve. We don't have to do it right. It doesn't have anything to do with that. That's what we focus on instead of simply being here. That's why self-hate's beatings are so important to us. They're probably the single most effective method of avoiding awakening. That's why we have so much resistance to acceptance, because in acceptance, there's nothing to do. We don't need to do anything. To sit still in compassionate acceptance is all that's required. There's a small child inside each of us who is taught to believe that bad things happen or will happen because she or he is bad. As adults, when we become aware of this child, we're saddened. We feel the child's sadness. We're conditioned to try to stop the sadness, to move away from the experience. The child doesn't need for us to do that. He or she needs to know deep down inside that it is absolutely all right to be having that experience. The child needs complete acceptance for however she or he is in each moment. And we, as adults, do too. That's what we didn't get when we were little. Acceptance for however we are in whatever moment.
Okay, we'll stop there. Lorraine, now it's in your face. How do you change? Do you feel that even that snippet gave some clarity there? And what an invitation, Lorraine and anyone else, to not make yourself wrong that you didn't realize you were in self-hate. It's so deep up until now. It's coming to the surface. The awareness illuminates what's here. And so all that it's saying is acceptance, 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 compassion. You don't, how can you improve upon perfection? All of the layers that are on top of that divine perfection that is us. We are not our bodies. We are not this personality, this construct. We are not all of the things we believe ourselves to be. That essence of our true nature, that bright awareness, loving awareness, that's the truth, the I am. Anything on top of that is these layers. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Catherine. Phoebe. So if you look at the description of the live, I don't know if you can see it now that we're in it. But we are listening to the book, There's Nothing Wrong With You by Cheri Huber. So it's an ongoing series. If you want the free PDF, just send me a message here, Facebook, Instagram. I have the replays are available, and this one will be available as well in YouTube. So you can do all that stuff. Reach out, follow, give a donation if you appreciate this space. Glad you're here. I'll be live again in less than 24 hours with our fun and powerful Saturday Night Live series where I draw cards and have spirit messages come through. They're always coming through. And also, I use cards for that. And then we do Reiki and Ancestral Clearing. I've been channeling Reiki into this session. Also in the replay, it will be channeled. Jeff. Yeah, so, I mean, what did the book say? The only answer is acceptance. There's nothing else but acceptance. It doesn't mean you don't, if you need to amend something. So I'm glad you said that. Thank you so much for sharing. Hi, Allison. Yes, this is simple, not easy. Hi, Joe. So y'all know I'm a Michael Singer fiend. And this is my favorite quote from his book, The Surrender Experiment. If I can find it, here it is. So, and this goes along with what Jeff's saying, like, wow, considering, you know, things from the past, can't change it. We've all hurt others, we've hurt ourselves. You know, Singer says that nobody's ever gone back. I mean, in a 3D, like, quote, normal sense, you can't go back and change the past. So the only thing to do is work with yourself now in this present moment about it. And it starts with being in acceptance that we can't change it. So listen to this quote, everybody. By that stage of my growth, I could see that the practice of surrender was actually done in two very distinct steps. First, you let go of the personal reactions of like and dislike that form inside your mind and heart. And second, with the resultant sense of clarity, you simply look to see what's being asked of you by the situation unfolding in front of you. What would you be doing if you weren't being influenced by the reactions of like or dislike? Following that deeper guidance will take your life in a very different direction from where your preferences would have led you. This is the clearest I can explain my surrender experiment, and it became the foundation of both my spiritual and worldly life. So his book, his memoir is called Surrender Experiment. And so what he's talking about there is he's made his life an experiment of surrendering in each moment, releasing attachment, releasing desire, releasing resistance, releasing preference. I mean, that's very Buddhist. You know, the Four Noble Truths: existence is suffering, the cause of suffering is resistance. You could say attachment or resistance. So if there's a resistance to the past of like wanting it to be a certain way, there's a preference there. It can't be changed. The only answer is surrender, acceptance for what is. When we come into that place of surrender, letting go, that's acceptance, really. Then you look and see what's being asked of you by this present moment in front of you. If a family member that you hurt comes out of nowhere or comes into your thoughts, you work with yourself, you surrender, you come into acceptance, you release the baggage around that. There might be an action that comes to you that wouldn't have come before. So that's sort of, you know, I mean, it's all on topic and a little bit of an offshoot, but it wanted to come through, so there it is, if that's helpful for anybody. Yes, Lorraine. So Untethered Soul is Michael Singer's first and most famous book. Surrender Experiment is the second book in his memoir that's amazing. And his third and newest book is called Living Untethered, that came out last year. His podcast is amazing. I've done a lot of live streams about Michael Singer. I go with a flow on what I call to put focus on, because it's my own journey and it's what I'm focusing on. Yeah, so that's that. So it's time to go and end this live stream. If you haven't followed me already, please do so. If you care to give a donation, if you care to see more about me and my profile, send me a message. You can see how I work one-on-one or inquire about that if that's interesting to you. Listen to my meditations, and I have a group, Natalie's Healing Circle. So you can join in there, you can post, you can chat, we can dialogue in there. And yeah, Shell. Well, you know, the good news with wonderful technology is you can have that. These replays are available. And you know, whenever I work one-on-one with clients in a spiritual life coaching capacity, and also I have my own coach as well that I receive coaching from, that's kind of what happens and why coaching is powerful, because week after week or however often we're meeting, like these things get reiterated and you know, you go over it again and again, it starts to sink in. You know, as a coach, I'm here to be in possibility, hold my client, the person I'm working with, seeing them from that space of possibility, not buying into the stories, being loving and compassionate, and also, you know, seeing you for your empowered self, your powerful self. And then, you know, remind you of the truth you already know, help you to see those truths and uncover those insights for yourself. You already have everything within you. So, lots wanted to flow today. It was awesome. Thank you, Jeff, J.E., Wendy, everybody, Lorraine, and everyone. So I will see you tomorrow, whenever that is. I'm in India, so for me it'll be in the morning. It'll be full moon, at least tomorrow in India, or today, tomorrow, full moon. So powerful time. You're welcome, Karen. Thank you for joining. See you all soon. Loving you. And remember, taking these messages with you. When you notice the self-hate, oh, it's not wrong that you notice it. What's the invitation? Just total acceptance and compassion, which can only happen in the present moment. So coming into presence, can I love myself right here and now in this moment? That's all that's asked, because this moment's the only thing that is real. So yeah, and it heals on multi-dimensional layers. So totally, J.E., thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.